So how did I actually get monetized in 2024? Here's how I did it. Looking back on 2024 and all of the things that we did and all of the filming and all of the videos that we made, there were really three key elements that I kind of took away throughout that journey, which was what led to me getting monetized in what was effectively a 10-month window. Now, the first of those keys is to understand your niche and your audience. Now, I talk about a 10-month window where the channel got monetized, but actually the channel had already been going for a few years prior to that. But in those years, what I'm kind of doing is actually learning and understanding what works best on the channel, what performs better, and what niches actually am I tapping into. And this was really kind of evidenced and confirmed for me when we went to MegaCon in London in January of 24, because at that event, it was the most viewed video that I've ever made. It's just shy now of 10,000 views, which pushed us straight through to really kind of making it a realistic goal to get to the 3,000 hours watch target that we had for 2024. That was kind of the main goal, was to get that benchmark. So 3,000 hours of watch time. Also wanted to exceed 1 million views overall for the channel. We already had 1,000 subscribers and I wanted to double it. So, you know, I had these targets, but when we went to MegaCon, or when I went to MegaCon and made the videos there, they were so well received that it really confirmed for me exactly what the niche was for this channel. And that meant that I knew where to double down when it came to actual content creation and what we were going to do for the rest of the year. So MegaCon was great. It was hugely successful. But what it did for me was it actually allowed me to say, okay, well, now I know who the audience are that I'm looking to kind of focus on and provide content for, ultimately, at the end of the day, is to give them value. And of course, yeah, that's Comic-Con content, that's cosplays, it's all the kind of stuff surrounding that. So obviously the main niche for this channel has always been like Disney, Marvel and Star Wars, and Comic-Cons kind of just are a little window of that. So the niche is very broad, but the audience that I can kind of focus in on was, yeah, really confirmed for me by the success that we'd had at MegaCon at the beginning of the year. So straight away, I'm then looking at what's going to happen in the rest of the year. How can I double down on that success and try to make the most of it? So I knew that I had other comic conventions coming up in the rest of the year that we could really focus on, and I'll get to those later. But it was a great start to the year, hugely successful in terms of actual views on a video, and watch hours suddenly jumped magnificently. So we were now really focusing on that 3,000 hours mark. We also later on in 2024, back in March, we went to Disneyland Paris, myself and Pippa. So that was really, again, us kind of focusing on our niche. Those videos didn't perform particularly well, but I later kind of learned why. Although they were sort of focused on the niche, as it were, that the channel has, it didn't really focus in on a particular audience, but more importantly, it didn't really provide any value to that audience, which is something I'll come on to later on. But it's still niche for the channel, it was still appropriate, and we still made those videos and it was really good. And that led us up to the next Comic-Con, which was Portsmouth at the beginning of May. Now, the funny thing was, I know I said to somebody when I was at Portsmouth Comic-Con that my YouTube channel at the time kind of felt like a bit of a curse, because I knew that I had realistically up until October to try to hit these targets, because I knew I'd had some success at MCM Comic-Con in the previous October, and I had the watch hours from that kind of in the bank to help me get close to that 3,000 mark. And I knew therefore that when October came around in this year, all of that was going to drop off, and I couldn't assume that I was going to maintain that same level if I went to Comic-Con again. So really that 10-month window was just try to get as much content out as you could. Like, the discipline is incredible, and that's the next key, is discipline. So the one thing that I learned from both Portsmouth Comic-Con and also MCM a few weeks later was it's not just enough to know who your audience are and to kind of double down on that content and make it work. You also need to be really disciplined with yourself, and it's not just about being consistent. A lot of people will say you should be doing a video every day. A lot of people say you should be doing a video at least once a week, or maybe at least a couple of times a week. For me, yes, when you're chasing watch hours, I think it's really important to try to do as much as you possibly can do. But discipline overall isn't just about the consistency of how regularly you're uploading videos. I knew I wanted to do 52 videos in a year as a minimum. That was kind of like my benchmark. And I was always saying that I wanted one video a week. Very doable, but there are also weeks where you'll do more than that, because if you're covering an event, it might be that I go to Comic-Con and over a few days I'll do 3 or 4 videos. So in the end, I think we ended up with 60, 70 odd videos in a year, so way more than I had originally targeted, if you like. And burnout is a bit of an issue when it comes to that. But when I talk about discipline, it's not just about how regularly you're uploading videos. It's also the discipline to spend the time off the camera doing a lot of research and doing a lot of work. And for this, I have to give really big shout outs and a massive amount of credit to vidIQ, whose channel is just fantastic, because if you want to learn how the algorithms work, how to strategize, the best ways to put videos together, how packaging works, really you need to follow vidIQ. You don't necessarily have to, buy their products or do any of that. Obviously you can if you want. I'm sure they will tell me that I should be saying that they should. But ultimately, even if you just watch their videos and you're just getting those regular updates about how the algorithm changes or new features that are coming out on the channel and how you can maximize that, and all the tools and the tricks and the tips and the hints that can kind of get your videos from where they are now up to a better level to give yourself the best chance. So discipline isn't just about making stuff, it's also about taking the time to kind of soak up other content, learn the process, learn how video creation is done, learn how to maximize the things that are available on YouTube, and actually understanding that it's more than just video making. There's so much that goes into it. And research is really key. Researching things like search terms, researching things like topics, and okay, you know what your audience is by that stage maybe, but what is it that your audience want to see? What search terms are they using? What are they looking for? What can you provide to them? So it's the discipline that goes off camera as well. Watching your favorite creators as well, getting inspiration, getting ideas, not copying them, but being inspired by them, giving you the energy to go out and kind of do things your own way. It's more than just make a video and throw it up. You've got to do the extra work that goes on behind the camera. An important part of discipline as well is a little bit of self-sacrifice. And that sounds really dramatic, I know. And I'm not ever going to tell anybody to go to the extreme lengths that I have done. It's no secret that this channel would never have had the success this year had I not have gotten divorced. But that's a whole nother thing. And I'm not suggesting that people suddenly go and start divorcing or leaving people so that they can grow on YouTube. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that you need to be able to invest the time to actually growing. And this is across the board. This isn't just about YouTube. If there's something you want to do and something you want to achieve, you've got to make it the priority, because if you can't, it's not going to work. It's the same with your job. You work 9 to 5, maybe 5 days a week. You've got that time dedicated week in, week out to do it better, to grow, to earn money, to do all of those things in the right way. And YouTube is no different. And you've got to, I think, treat it like a job or a second job. Don't ever expect to make any money from it. That's not what I'm saying. But if you want to be successful at it, even mildly successful for a small channel like mine, it takes that discipline and that sacrifice. Like MCM in May was a huge example to me of why some videos for creators that go there work and why some don't. And this is an important part of the process as well, is to kind of compare, why is it that some channels will outperform videos that I've made of the same event, but why is it that my videos also might outperform other videos of people covering the same event? Where is the difference in success? And the one thing I've learned is that if you're covering an event, it's got to be edited and uploaded while the event is happening. You can see it in the numbers, because if you look and do a search of a particular event that you might want to go to, and you have a look at the lower viewed ones, I guarantee that they were uploaded a week after the event had finished, or a fortnight, or a month, or maybe even longer. The ones that were uploaded during the event happening were the ones that actually get more of the views. And if you want to go to, say, like a Comic-Con and you want to focus on socializing, you are happy to do a lot of filming while you're there, but then at the end of the day, you then just want to go and be social and be with your friends and we'll have, fun and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But then you're not there to work. And ultimately, that's how you should be thinking. If you want to be successful at this, you've got to treat it like a job. And just because an event is finished and the camera stopped rolling, doesn't mean your job is finished. You've now got to edit, you've now got to package, you've now got to upload. If you're not going to sacrifice time away so that you can focus on doing that, then you're not going to make it. It's all about prioritizing and giving yourself that time and approaching it professionally. And this is what a lot of people don't do, because they're not prepared to kind of make that jump and actually give their time to something to make it work. And that's the difference. And that's what I realized, and that's what I focused on. So if I go to a Comic-Con, I will make sure I'm editing and uploading that night on that day of that event, because that's when the traffic is there. That's when people are looking for it. That's when people want that content. It's no good waiting a week. It's too late. Done, finished. You may as well just wait for the next one to come along and try again. So be really disciplined. Be disciplined in terms of your consistency for when you're uploading, whether you want to do like 1 week, a couple a week. If you're chasing watch time, then yeah, try and push yourself to try to get more. But ultimately, it's also about sacrificing that time and making sure that you prioritize the content. You've got to do that. And that's what this year has really, really taught me. Now, by doing those things, after MCM in May and Portsmouth a couple of weeks prior to that, what I then realized was that I'd actually hit the 3,000 hour watch time. I'd smashed through that just by doing those few Comic-Cons in those first few months. I'd managed to get over the 3,000 hour watch time sort of benchmark. But it really kind of opened my eyes up, because actually I didn't just kind of creep over the 3,000 benchmark. I got to about 3,500 hours watch time, which means that I was really closing in on 4. And you know, 4,000 hours watch time is a lot to get to, but that's what you need if you want ad revenue. So very shortly after May was when I got accepted onto the partner program, and that was based on the 3,000 hours. But now I'm really pushing for 4. So now the discipline and the consistency has to go up a level, because now I'm chasing the hours big time, because there isn't another Comic-Con for me now until like MCM in October. But as I already said earlier, that would be too late. So I had until basically June to September to do as much as I possibly could, to cram in as many hours as I could possibly get to try to get up to that 4,000 hour target. And that's exactly what we did. So there was videos going up every week. I was reviewing like Star Wars shows, doing the odd vlog week in, week out, if I wasn't then able to travel somewhere and film something. So we did Arundel Castle quite a lot. We went to jousting tournaments. We did the Festival of Speed at Goodwood. We also did a Goodwood Revival. So I was just like cramming as much as I possibly could. And that takes unbelievable amounts of discipline to kind of force yourself to do it, because I can promise you one thing: you burn out really, really quickly when you're doing this, on top of a 9-to-5, you know, day job as well, and looking after a house and everything else that you've got to do during your life, and other hobbies and stuff that you've got. You've got to be able to find the time to do this, to really hone in on that. So when we talk about consistency and how regularly you're uploading, in that instance, it suddenly went from once a week kind of being my target to being the absolute minimum of 1 a week, trying to do 2 a week. I personally think that you should never have a video going up that don't have a couple of days gap in between. It's just my opinion, but what I've noticed, I think the algorithm will push a video for maybe 3 or 4 days before it finally gives up. But you've got to allow it the time to do that. And what I've noticed, and this could be wrong, is that if you upload maybe a video on day 1 and then another video on day 2, the video that you did on day 1 kind of gets forgotten about, and the algorithm only focuses on the most recent one that you've done. Now that may not be true, it's just something that I think I've noticed, but I would just allow a few days for a video to actually kind of maximize its potential before you worry about doing the next one, because also you need the data from those few days to kind of learn what you could be doing on this new video differently. So kind of give it a few days. I wouldn't do a daily video. I tried doing that for Vlogmas in 2023, and I hated it, because you're scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to find things to film, and you're not allowing yourself enough time to really focus on the quality. So that was when vidIQ became even more useful for me, because what it taught me was the third real key, which is packaging. Naturally, we'd done a few Comic-Cons by this point, around sort of like August, September time, or sort of like July time, and really we were then focusing on, well, how can we maximize the amount of watch hours that we're getting out of these videos? And then you start looking at packaging, and this is really, really crucial. When you look at packaging on its most simple terms, it's basically your thumbnails and your title. And I don't like using the word clickbait, but ultimately that's kind of what you're looking for. So how do you get people hooked on your video? And there's obviously different ways of doing it, but actually if you expand on packaging overall, and you can look at lots of different ways to do it, not just trying to make your thumbnails better, not just trying to use more catchy titles, but also expanding on it. So what search terms are you covering? If you look at search terms first and then make a video, you might be answering a key question that your audience has. And ultimately what you're doing is you're providing value to your audience. So that's really, to me, way, way more important, because yes, you can have a catchy title and you can have a bright thumbnail, but if you don't then deliver on it, the audience is going to turn off pretty, really quickly. So when we went to the places like Arundel Castle, and we did a lot of the like jousting tournament videos that I'd covered, I was testing thumbnails using you've got like this feature on YouTube now where you can put up 3 different ones and it will test them. I think the way they test them is wrong, but that's irrelevant. But it's kind of giving you the opportunity to learn what really works for thumbnails and trying to make them as good as you can do. And it's always a little bit tricky because I think personal taste kind of comes into it a little bit. But ultimately, you've just got to try different things and just sort of see what works. And similarly with titles, making sure that you're using the search terms, do that research. When we talk about discipline, do the research and actually make sure that you're not just throwing up a video for the sake of a video, you're actually providing something that's either useful or entertaining or insightful. And a lot of the feedback that we've had from like the Comic-Cons that we've done throughout 24, it's always quite interesting because like when my family watch those videos, they always say, oh, well, you didn't go and film this or that, or you didn't show this bit, or we wanted to see something else. But they're not really the audience that those videos are made for, and they're the most popular videos on my channel. So what is it that they're actually offering? Well, the value that they're offering is the fact that if someone loves going to Comic-Con but couldn't, they can kind of enjoy it vicariously by watching it through my eyes. Similarly, if they were there, a lot of people will watch because they want to see if they made it into the video. You know, did their cosplay actually get featured in this? And a lot of the times the answer is yes. So it's providing that value to people, and that's the key, I think, when it comes to packaging. It's not just about how it looks or what catchy title you might be able to give it. Using search terms is really important for that, but also you need to then back it up with value in your video. It's kind of harder when I think when you're in a travel and events category video or channel like ours is, you can kind of focus on, oh, I'm just gonna vlog it. I'm just gonna keep a diary of the stuff that we're doing and where we're going and what we're seeing, and that's great. But when you're a smaller channel, you've got to offer something. So certainly in 2025, we've got plans for other trips and stuff like that. But what we're really going to be focusing on is kind of what we had beta tested a little bit in 24, which was don't just go to an event. Try and answer a question like, how do you get there? What's the best place to stay? What's the food like? You know, answering key questions or setting challenges in your video so that there's some entertainment value in there. So, you know, one of the key kind of things that I think YouTube is going to be focusing on in 25, because they released a whole article about this, is focusing on people's emotional responses to videos. You know, either trying to make them happy or informed or entertained or laugh, and trying to put that in a video. So like this one, I'm trying to kind of give you some information about how I did it and what I focused on and what I think the key takeaways were, and you might find that useful. And it's trying to give you that insight. So think about why you're watching videos as well. Why do you consume the videos that you do of the people that you follow? What is it about them that you like that you could try to do for someone else as well? So value is really, really important. When you look at packaging and you learn what that is by watching channels like vidIQ, because they will teach you all of that. But understand, I think the biggest key factor in all of it is value. Why should someone watch your video? What are you actually offering them? By the time we get to the end of August, I had actually done it. I had exceeded the 4,000 hours watch time. Ad revenue suddenly became available. It's pennies, it really is. It's not like ever going to pay the bills, but it's nice to actually have hit that target. And then later on in 2024, I was able to then just enjoy making the videos without the stress of kind of having to hit certain targets or worry about it. So when we went to Disneyland Paris in September, absolutely brilliant time. Just had a lot of fun filming it. We did have some like challenges, and there were some things that happened that kind of made the videos a little bit more viral, I suppose. So, you know, just really enjoyed it. It kind of took the pressure off then of being able to sort of say, well, I've hit the targets, now I can just enjoy it. But that's not to say that you don't then want to do better, because now that we've got all of the, you know, ad revenues all set up, all that kind of stuff, now we need to think about what's our next target and what's our next kind of goal, if you like, because the only thing now to measure the channel on really is how much money that it's going to make. But ultimately it's the same things that will kind of enable you to do that. So whether you're monetized or not, it's niche and audience, discipline through consistency and sacrifice, and packaging and focusing on value. Those three things can get you there. And once you are monetized, are the same things that will actually help you to do even better, grow even more, and hopefully make a few pennies along the way. So that's how I did it. It was all about those three key elements that I learned. And I'm now trying to apply that on other channels for other people as well, which is a lot harder to do because I don't have the time to be able to focus on them week on, week out. But I can certainly show like the tips and the tricks of how I did it and how that can be applied. But as long as you're doing those things, you should be okay. But there's two kind of things that I should point out. We had a really intense kind of last few months of the year in 24. So we had Saberfest that we'd gone to and filmed, immediately followed by Disneyland Paris again, and then a few weeks later, MCM Comic Con in October. And what those few months did was absolutely burn me out, like completely. I had no energy left, and I had a massive workload on at my actual job, so it was kind of just too much. And by December, I was done. If you look back on the channel, pretty much nothing got uploaded in December, and there was no content coming in from anywhere else, so nothing really happened. And that's fine. It's not so much of a big deal. We're not chasing watch hours anymore because we'd already hit the target, so it's not so much of a problem. But just be aware, burnout really does happen. Like, a lot of people talk about it and they don't necessarily kind of appreciate it as being a real thing unless you've experienced it. But when you go through that process of saying, okay, for the next like 10, 12 months, I'm going to really focus on filming, being really consistent, being really disciplined, it does take a toll. And the cost of it is quite high because it's just your energy levels. Like, all of my annual leave from work has pretty much gone on doing this, which is fine, but there's no downtime. There's no time to like just recover and just try to get some of the energy back, which is really all I've done in December is work and sleep. That's pretty much it. So just be aware of that, because there's gonna come times where you just need to have a little bit of a break. I couldn't have made this video like 3 weeks ago. I never would have had the energy to do this, but having taken a little bit of time away, enjoyed Christmas, it's now the new year, just having a little bit of a rest, I feel a little bit more recharged, and I can make another video and start planning for 2025. And we've got a few things that'll be coming up very, very soon. So obviously in 2025, we want to focus on our niche, our target audience. And we've already got probably 3 or 4 comic conventions already booked or near to being booked, certainly that are in the diary that we'll be able to focus on. So we've got MegaCon towards the end of January. So myself and Pippa will be there for that. Hopefully you'll be there too. And by all means, come and find us if you can. It's pretty big. It's not as big as MCM. It's at the same venue, but it's I enjoyed it as an event. It's a little bit smaller, so we'll be there. We'll be filming throughout that. So that's at the end of January. Beginning of March, there's also London Comic Con that we'll be going to. I've never done that one before. It's a little bit smaller. It's at the Olympia in London, so that'll be a new one for me to kind of go and film and check out. So that'll be good. And then we get into May, where we'll be back at hopefully Portsmouth Comic Con again. MCM towards the end of May. MCM in October will obviously be a target for us as well. And we want to obviously try and do Disneyland Paris at some point in around September. So, you know, these things are already kind of, you know, in the making, and those are the plans that we've got coming up. There's also some things that I want to try to do. So one of them is to go back to Paultons Park. Theme parks was always one of the things, one of the categories that we wanted to do on this channel. And I haven't been to Paultons Park for a couple of years. We didn't go in 2024 at all, just didn't have time for that or energy. So that'd be somewhere I'd like to go back to, because my GoPro needs its dust basically blown off of it by going on a roller coaster. So that's what I plan to do at some point, maybe in the spring, maybe April time. I'd like to go there and do that. Or in the summer, or maybe more than once. So there's that. Then maybe somewhere else like Chessington would be kind of cool, or Thorpe Park would be kind of cool. So we'll try and get a few more like theme parks in there in the summer if we can, potentially. Disneyland Paris as well, as I said before, hopefully in September. So, you know, those plans are there. There will also hopefully be more opportunities for myself to go back to Arundel Castle and do some more filming there. But I will probably put that on a new sister channel that I've got for Random Richie, where it's all basically just like the random stuff that's kind of outside the niche, as it were. I'll also be doing a lot more of Assassin's Creed content. Will probably go on that channel. I may even do a bit of gaming on that channel at some point if I can. So I'm kind of focusing on the niches now, and hopefully for you as the audience, providing you in 2025 and onwards exactly what it is that you want to see. If you want to see everything, then just subscribe to both channels. Absolutely fine. You will find it, so don't worry. I'll be promoting it and pushing it every time I post something. So don't worry, if you want all of the content, it will be there, but it might just be divided up over 2 categories, just so that I can really focus on what it is that you guys want to see and where you want to see it. So that's the plan. So 2025 hopefully will be a good year, but 2024, now that it's over, it was exhausting, absolutely exhausting. Just intensely busy, like week in, week out, month on, month off. It just never really stopped up until we hit Christmas. So it's been a great year. It has been a good year. It's been a very successful year. We hit every target. We smashed every target that we wanted to achieve. I think we started the year at around 1,000 subscribers. By the way, if you're looking for subscribers and you're trying to get this number up, I'd recommend using YouTube Shorts for that. I find you get more feedback from subscribers for shorts. I just think it's easier for some reason. People just seem to be more willing to subscribe to your channel if they see a short content as opposed to long form. I don't know why. But if you're trying to get the subscribers up, use shorts. I know some people don't like them for whatever reason, but it's a tool, and if you're a creator there, I'd say use it. You don't even have to make more content. You can literally just cut this into a portrait video of whatever you're already making and put it into a short, and it'll just kind of create some extra traction for you. So use YouTube Shorts. Once you get to a point where you've hit that 1,000 subscriber mark and you don't like making them, you don't really need to anymore. So don't worry too much about it. But certainly while you're trying to get those numbers up, use it. So yeah, we definitely hit the subscriber count. We started off with 1,000 and I wanted to double it. We finished the year at about 2,500 or 2.6. So that was another target hit. We wanted to try to get to 3,000 hours watch time, and in the end we exceeded 4,000 hours. I wanted to get to 1 million views in 2024, and we finished the year on 1.3 million, so that's really good. And then a lot of unexpected stuff. I never expected to get onto the partner program in 2024, if ever. So that was just a very unexpected, massive success for the channel. And thank you to everybody who subscribes, watches, leaves comments, leaves a like. Huge thank you to everybody who's supporting the channel, and also to people like vidIQ, who's kind of taught me a lot of this stuff, to my co-host Pippa, who's joined in this year as well to hopefully try to make the channel grow even more. Shout out to my friends like Ben, who has appeared in so many of these videos in his Jawa costume, and others as well at various Comic-Cons that we've done. So massive shout out to so many people. Huge thanks to Silver Sabres Combat Academy as well, because they featured so much on this channel over the years, and none of the success that we've had on this would be possible without all of those people. Also shout out to my friend Liam as well, who was with me at Portsmouth Comic-Con and other Comic-Cons in the past, who's actually set me on this path a little bit in getting the success that we've had. So huge shout out to all those people, to my brother Brian, who's got his own channel as well, and I always appreciate his insights into this. My other brother Adrian, who until a few weeks ago didn't even know that you could subscribe to channels for free. He's learning. And my parents for watching, and basically everybody. It's been a massive year, really tiring, but really successful. So with that said, we will be back in 2025. There will be a lot more to come. There may be a little bit of downtime at some point in the year. You will notice there will be changes coming. All of this behind me will be going, as I will hopefully be moving soon. So expect some changes to the background, and there may be a little bit of a pause on the channel and uploads whilst all of that is going on. I will obviously let you know, and you'll see the changes as and when they happen. So we shall see. But the plan is to keep on going and hopefully have another year just like this one, and hopefully even better. So with that said, and on that terrible disappointment, I really want to get that written on a t-shirt, by the way, just terrible disappointment. But anyway, that said, we're all done. I'll see you guys in the next video. The vlog is over.